Welcome to Kayleen's Closet. This is my wonderful hubby. You don't get to see him very often. He's behind the camera, but he answers a lot of your responses. And sometimes you guys are even talking to him. But this is my husband, Bruce.
Hey there.
And he has his master's degree in marriage and family therapy. And I think he's brilliant. That's just my personal opinion. So, hey, Sarah.
Hey guys. Hey Sarah.
So if you're joining us, say hi, tell us where you're from. It's going to be super low-key. We're just going to hang out and talk about self-care and the importance of self-care. And, you know, sanity, that's important too.
So I want to tell a story. One day I came home from work and I came into our room, and our room is, half of it is A&D, the other half is our space. And Kayleen was busy shipping out your packages at the same time that she was giving a spelling test to my youngest son. And it was then that I realized that women were eventually going to take over the world. Because I don't know of a guy that could do that. I certainly couldn't do that. I think it really, that little picture in my mind sticks out because you ladies, when you carry a burden with you, in the same way that Kayleen is able to do spelling tests and ship A&D all at the same time, when you carry a burden with you and you go to the store, it stays with you. Us guys, we're kind of able to departmentalize and like, okay, that's that time, and I'm gonna deal with it then. But you guys kind of carry it with you all the time, and because of that, self-care is really important. And that's why we wanted to kind of talk with you guys and walk you through. We're going to give you a resource, and then we're going to talk to you in these 9 weeks on how to use it. So do you want to tell them about the menu?
Sure. So we posted it in the group. There's a separate post that it has a link to this. This is the self-care menu that, did you come up with this?
I did.
I think it was like a collaborative thing with some people, but
yeah.
So self-care menu, and it talks about the 9 different areas of self-care, and we're going to be going through one a week. And today is going to be kind of an overview of self-care and like why it's important, and just kind of an overview of what we're going to be covering. And then we're also going to cover the first one up here, and then next week we're going to cover another one. So it's going to give you some time and to work through each one, kind of spend a week thinking about each area of self-care and how you can implement in your life. So if you haven't already, it's in the group. You guys can go and download it and print it out and be looking it over and thinking about it. But this is the self-care menu, and he uses this with his clients and things like that. And yeah. So he is, if you guys are just joining us, this is my husband, Bruce, and he teaches psychology at the college up here, and he has been working in the field of marriage and family therapy. He has his master's degree for about, 6
years.
6 years, yeah.
So, shall we dive in? Okay, here's why self-care is really important. There's 2 ways when you go through something hard to get to the other side of that. The first way is when you try and when you're trying to get over it. Okay, getting over it is avoiding sort of the pain of what you're going through.
Distracting.
It's through distraction.
It's that whole, when our little kids are throwing a fit because they really want something. Let's say we're at the grocery store and they're like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And we can say no, and they're going to throw a fit, and they're going to, then they're going to deal with it. Or we can distract them with something or hand them something else, or it's that distraction technique that we learn, and it's a great parenting technique. I've used it many times, but as adults it becomes an issue when it is pervasive in our lives. And I really think it is a sickness in America, is disengaging from everything. Disengaging.
Right.
And disengaging looks like not talking things through with your spouse, not talking things through with your friends, not taking the time to sit and think through and have those thoughts and think about how am I really feeling about this. But instead, we disengage, we unplug, we turn the TV on so we don't have to think about it. We pull out a book to read, which all of these things are healthy things in moderation. But when that's all that we're doing and we're not taking that time to think about those different areas of our life, the trauma that we're going through, or even just, I mean, we all get micro hurts through the day where people will say things or something will happen or you're driving and somebody ticks you off. Like, we have to process those things. And when we're not doing that, when the first thing we do when we come home is really just kind of want to unplug and not think.
Or drink heavily.
Or drink, you know, or
Right.
whatever it is that you run to. I mean, everybody has their coping mechanism. Everybody has their thing that they run to.
Right.
So when that's what you're running to and that's what you're going to, you're not having the time needed to process those things. And so we want to, I mean, it's kind of funny that we're starting out with fun and relaxation as their first area of self-care for the week. But I just want to say all things in moderation. Like, that's why there's 9 areas of self-care, because you want to make sure that you're using all of the menu, and you're not just, think of it as like the food groups, the food pyramid. So if you're only eating your, starches, if you're only eating meat, if you're only eating vegetables, like, that's not healthy. You have to diversify and spread things out. So.
Absolutely. So, we're going to talk really briefly. We're going to get sciencey for a minute, okay?
Oh, no.
There's a whole school that primarily focuses on something called post-traumatic growth. In other words, when I go through something really difficult, what does that look like on the other side? And so...
We got a logo. Did you guys see it? It was super cool. Anyway.
Oh, I just scrolled right through it. Yes, we have a logo. All right, so post-traumatic growth. When you're on the other side of going through something hard, this is what it looks like. And I want to talk about this because, for me, this is encouraging. Because I know that the stuff that I have to go through that's hard, the stuff that I have to go through that's painful, the loss and maybe rejection, or those things that are just tough. If I'm able to press through those instead of trying to just use coping skills to get over them, there's something really beautiful on the other side of that. And I think some of you guys might need to hear that because you're going through something really, really hard. Okay. When we posted that we would be doing this, we got some really beautiful responses. Like, wow, I really need this. Thank you so much. So this is going to be for you to learn the science of what this can look like on the other end. So post-traumatic growth has 5 different areas on the other end of it, okay? So people that have gone through something tough and have buckled down and learned what they could and engaged through it, on the other end, they developed a sense that new opportunities emerge from the struggle. And so that can look like, I teach a lot of students that want to be nurses, and a lot of them came from, they went through some trauma, they went through some relative that either passed away or went through a really intense sickness, and through that they realized that they had a heart to care for people. That would be an example of developing a sense that new opportunities emerge from that struggle. Experience changes in relationships with others. Let's say you get into an accident at 3 a.m. and you need to call someone to come and pick you up. Well, there's only a limited amount of people you can call at 3 a.m. They're going to take your call and they're going to come and get you. If that should ever occur, it's a horrible circumstance. We wouldn't wish for that. But your relationship can't stay the same because you know that that's someone that loves you, and you know that someone's going to take your call at 3 a.m. and you know that's someone that's going to get in the car and come and help you. Okay, so that's what it looks like when we experience changes in relationships. But then there's also another piece that happens. This is really important. You can relate to other people that suffer. Mm-hmm. So, I keep throwing out cancer, but if you've gone through cancer and you're on the other end of that, you're in remission, you're not going to see a hospital the same way. You're not going to see somebody walking into a store, wearing a bandana the same, because you know what that journey is for them. And so that's just one of the amazing things that happens through when we have to go through something hard, is that we can look back and say, I see someone else that's suffering, and I know what to do.
Hey, Sam. This is our first episode of Self-Care Saturday. So we are going to be talking about self-care just a little bit on Saturday mornings.
Sam's like,
She's like, what are you guys doing? This is my husband, Bruce, and he
Hi, Sam.
has his degree in marriage and family therapy, and anyway, so we wanted to help you guys kind of incorporate self-care into your life. So
It's been something really beautiful. I mean, I think that what's unique in the way that Kayleen sells clothes is that for her, it's not just about let's help you be pretty. It's let's help you. Let's show. I'm going to do a terrible job explaining this right now. Kayleen is all about like seeing the significance in people and helping them to bring that to light. And so when she does that through clothing, that's really the heart at what she does. Where it's not just about let's look pretty. It's, you know, you've got something special inside of you, and maybe through the way that you dress, we can help to bring that out. And we get a lot of messages. Kayleen mentions that we respond to messages together. We get a lot of messages from people saying that, where it's like, this has changed everything for me, or this has given me confidence to maybe do something that I wasn't able to before. And because this whole Kayleen's Closet thing isn't just about clothing, it's really about what would you say? Helping people to see their true significance. And so if you're not taking care of yourself along the way, you're not going to realize that potential. And so we just wanted to sit down this Saturday morning and have a chat with you guys. And we're going to be doing this over 9 weeks. We're going to take 1 week off because we have a trip scheduled, but we're going to go over each of the 9 areas. So today is going to be a little bit longer as we're taking time to explain what this self-care business is and what it looks like. So did that answer your question, Sam? So, all right. So what we're going into is this whole post-traumatic growth stuff, which is talking about like what it looks like on the other side of going through something hard. So, all right. So the third one is an increasing sense of one's own strength. So in other words, that's that whole like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's actually true if you can get through something and not avoid it. Once you're through the other side of that pain, you are stronger, and you have this sense of like, well, if I've gone through cancer, if I've gone through the loss of a fill in the blank, if I've gone through, you know, a horrible conflict, well, I know how strong I am. I know that I can get through that and what I look like on the other side. Okay, so when something smaller in comparison comes along, it's, you know, it's no big deal. So, and then a greater appreciation for life. You hear that a lot from people that have had like a near-death experience, or a horrific accident where, you know, where their life was in jeopardy, and it just comes across as I'm so grateful. I can't kiss my kids in the morning the same way anymore, because I know that might be the last time, and that sounds scary, but that's actually beautiful, because instead of like the hurry and maybe someday all this stress will decrease, it becomes, no, these moments that I used to hurry through really matter. I had a friend that lost a child, and later had a child. And what she described to me was every time she kissed that baby, she knew how valuable those kisses were. She knew how valuable that time spent was. And it changed it from, I don't have to be in the hustle, okay, to, no, times are really busy, but I am going to take that vacation. Times are really busy, but no, this stops on Saturday and we are going to spend time just us. It's just this, again, greater appreciation for life. And then the last one is a deepening of a spiritual life or a change in belief system. I kind of describe that as like, if everything I know is contained in this bubble, and then something occurs just outside of that, my bubble's got to grow. So that's what happens with our faith system when we go through something difficult. If you've gone through something really, really difficult, and in the middle of that hell, you experience love from somebody, you experience love from a doctor, from a friend, your bubble has to grow. And that's why we see a deepening of the spiritual life, because it becomes, maybe there's something more than everything that I've been seeing going on that's happening. I remember that happened to my grandpa. He decided to change his faith at 89 years old. And because he had that whole bubble experience where his whole life, this is what's possible, this is what is. And then at 89, something happened over here. And it was like, okay, I think I'm going to church this Sunday. So, and then a change in belief system, because sometimes it's radically outside of that bubble, and we just have to rethink, how we're doing everything. So anyway, all right. So that's post-traumatic growth. That's what happens on the other side of going through something difficult. Now, the way to get to that beautiful part is you can't disengage. And so that's coming back to, that's why we're going to be talking about the self-care menu, because we're going to talk about how you as a mom, you as a grandma, you as a friend are going to be going through difficult seasons. Maybe you're going through a difficult season right now, and we want to give you the tools to be able to get through that. So, all right. So, do you want to start talking about fun and relaxation?
So if you guys have pulled this up, I know that some of you are just joining us, but we posted a link to the self-care menu in the group page. And so on here are the 9 areas of self-care. And we're going to be talking about fun and relaxation today. And so it's what do you do just because you enjoy it? What is something that you do purely for the enjoyment of it? Like, it's not... you're not doing it for anybody else. You're not doing it with any other purpose in mind other than to just do something that is fun and that you enjoy. So for me, something, these kind of be like, wow. These kind of be like, anyway, this is kind of, for me, like guilty pleasure stuff. Is that wrong? Like,
no.
I love...
What's a guilty pleasure?
Well, like watching TV, like for me, like
okay.
That's something I do just for fun, just because I enjoy it. And again, I think, you have to be careful because like we're saying, you want to go through what you're going through in life and you want to engage and be present in life and not be careful to not spend so much time disengaging and unplugging and not thinking. And here's something that I learned, we study Latin and Greek roots, homeschooling the kids, and it's kind of, language is a funny thing, okay? So, theist, what is a theist? Theist is somebody that believes in God, right? And if you add an A in front of it, what does it do? Atheist, it means the opposite. It means somebody that doesn't believe in God. Now, the word muse means to think. So when you add that A in front of muse and you get the word amuse, it literally means to not think. And there's a time for not thinking. There's a time for just having fun. And that's, I think, what we're going to talk about today. But I want you to keep in mind that there are 9 areas of self-care. And I think a lot of us get stuck right here. Everything's backwards. We get stuck on this one. We get stuck on, I'm really tired. I had a long day. I don't want to think. I just want to turn the TV on.
Just unplug
and then go to bed. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and guess what happens when you wake up tomorrow? All of the problems from yesterday are right there. Have you ever experienced that where you're exhausted, you had a rough day, you're tired, somebody annoyed you, you come home, you kind of grouchy with those that you love, and you're like, I just want to get through dinner and put the kids to bed and watch TV, and I don't want to think about it anymore. And so you do that, you turn the TV on, you watch TV, and you go to bed, and when you wake up in the morning, is your day better? Is it any better than it was the day before? It's been longer, and I think through time, we're not actually like facing the problems. We're not actually recovering or growing. We're learning how to cope. That's a popular word. We can learn how to cope through things, and if coping for you is there's a time and a place, you guys, for a glass of wine. There's a time and a place for watching a movie or TV or unplugging. There's a time and a place, okay? But there is also all of these other areas. So we're going to be talking about those too.
Yeah, I want to say too, because I thought you were going to talk about getting your nails done. Okay, one of the ways that Keeleen takes care of herself is by getting her nails done. And at first there was a lot of challenge in that. Like, I don't know if I'm
because I'm not a foofy. Okay, you guys see me, you probably think I'm like a super foofy girl. I'm really not that foofy. Do you think I'm foofy?
I don't think so.
I am not, like, I would never in a million years. The reason I get my nails done is because I can't, the nail polish wears off too fast if I do it myself, and I don't have time in my life to paint my nails every other day. That would drive me crazy. And so for me, if I can get it done and it lasts for 3 weeks, great. I'm more utilitarian. So, what are you?
Well, I was
you
gonna-
disagree?
No. What I was going to say is until you became intentional with it and until you scheduled that into your life.
And then I realized how much I enjoyed it. But for me, it felt a little frivolous, I think, because I'm more like, there's other things we could be spending our money on. There's other things that I could be doing with my time. That's just personally for me, like how my mind works sometimes is like, I don't like to do things for myself. I don't like to take time for myself.
Well,
I tend to, because I'm a homeschool mom, I tend to think like, wow, the kids could use this curriculum, or we could go on this field trip, or there's like a million
and the
things.
other thing is, we schedule time for piano, and we schedule time for karate, or for baseball, or football, or for for all the activities that for the kids.
Football, huh?
I'm
Oh. I'm like, we are not football people, but okay.
yeah, but we're not only talking to ourselves here.
Oh, okay.
No, we're not.
This is my husband. We met in show choir.
And this is how red Bruce's face gets.
We're not football people. So, okay, I love you.
Okay. All right. I don't even know what I was saying.
We tend to make time for everything else but ourselves.
Okay, we schedule in all the activities that we've got, okay? Our lifestyles are, okay, if you want to just talk about us, our lifestyles are scheduled, my classes are scheduled, my coaching clients, those are all scheduled, but do we take time to schedule getting together with a friend? Do we take time to schedule? Because if we don't schedule those things, they don't happen. If Keeling didn't schedule, or we didn't work together to schedule her getting her nails done, it wouldn't happen.
Right. Because for me, like I said, we tend to go here first, right? We tend to go fun relaxation first.
Right.
What is going to benefit me the most right this second? Which tends to be the unplugging, the amusing ourselves, the fun and relaxation part. For me, getting my nails done or spending time with friends, having friends over for dinner, there's time and effort involved in those things. There's money involved in those things. So those things tend to go in another area. And when we're not careful, when we're living a life unplugged, when we're living a life disengaged, we tend to neglect all of these other areas for the one. So if you guys haven't pulled it up, let's just talk briefly. So we've got fun and relaxation. So what can you do? I'm going to put one here so I can read it. What can you do just because you enjoy it? Okay, so that's the top one. Fun and relaxation. What can you do just because you enjoy it? The second one, intellectual care. Like, how are you developing your mind? How are you kind of continuing in your education and continuing to become a better person? And, like, intellectually, I think we all enjoy learning. I think, and even if you think to yourself, man, I hated school, I don't want to continue learning. We all enjoy having things that we can talk about with other adults on an intellectual level. And I think
you don't want to learn that way. And
What?
that's okay. If you didn't like school,
right.
I don't like, no, it doesn't mean you don't like learning. It means you don't like learning in a classroom with a terrible teacher.
There are things that you're curious about. What are you curious about? What do you want to learn? Man, I'd love to learn to play guitar. And so for me on this list is I want to teach myself how to play guitar. There's YouTube videos out there. I don't have to go take lessons. I did buy a guitar a while ago. I'd really love to be able to play guitar.
You just said that like.
I know, you guys are going to hold me accountable. Say, Kayleen, are you learning how to play that guitar? I do. I would like to learn how to play guitar. So for me, that's something that I would put there. What am I curious about? What is something that I want to be able to do? And then the next one down, dreams and hopes. What would you like to accomplish in your personal life? Okay, so dreams and hopes for your personal life, not your professional life. What are some things that you would like to accomplish in your personal life? And for us, that looks like things like having a marriage that a lot of people, when their kids move out, it's very hard for them because their life has been revolved around their kids. And I think for us, it's always been, we want to have a strong enough marriage that for us, we have plenty to talk about that's just us. We have things in common that are just us and not the kids. It's not all
We don't want to be
centered
that
around
old couple, like, sitting at a table at a restaurant, like, on our phones.
Yeah.
Like we want to have fun like we do now.
Yeah. What are things you want to accomplish in your personal life? I think for us, these are things like our kids love theater and so do we. And, we would like to go see more plays, or we would like, those kind of things with our family and personal life. So then the next one up here, life and personal goals. What would you like to accomplish in life professionally? So here is your goals with whatever it is, your job, or like, let's say, we all have some sort of professional aspiration. Even if you are home with your kids, that can be about like how do you want to help your kids develop and help them be ready for school. And I remember when I was home with Solomon and it was just me and him, we were talking about last night, we would watch Baby Einstein, we'd go through the Baby Einstein flashcards, but we all have those personal aspirations and goals, and you want to make sure that you're hitting on all these areas of your life. So the next one, emotional care. What brings you comfort? Emotional care. So when you're hurting,
that's things like, that could even be like taking your dog for a walk, or taking time. We love our dogs, but like taking time to brush your dog. When you spend time with an animal, it actually
it releases the chemicals in your brain.
It actually does.
But same thing with your kids. For me, emotional care honestly could look like sitting down and playing a game with my kids, because I feel revitalized just from just having fun with them, from just like. And I think that's the thing that surprised me the most, is some of these other areas that I would never think to go to, because for me, I'm just going to be real with you guys, it's way too easy for me to watch a TV show, to binge watch a show on Netflix, to read a book. These are the things that I really love to do. Emotional care for me is getting in the car. I like to drive. I'll go for a drive and sing at the top of my lungs. That is emotional care for me. Like, I love to sing, and I don't do it very often in front of other people, but I do really enjoy singing. And
but she should. This girl can lay it down. Just know that.
I don't know about that, but so what brings you comfort? A bath. A bath will bring me comfort. A bath makes me feel cared for. Even something as simple as, I used to be really, really bad about washing my face. When I tell you guys that I'm kind of not as high maintenance as you probably think I am, I'm really not. Like, I think before A&D would not put makeup on that often, and I tend to be more of a low-key kind of girl.
Well, you were a full-time homeschooling mom.
I was a full-time homeschool mom, that was living in sweats and like blah. Anyway, so this A&D has really helped me establish the other areas of self-care in my life, and it's been really good for me. I feel like I've been able to find me again, because I think as moms, we tend to lose who we are a little bit in that season of taking care of our kids. We let that go, and then we just think about them. And that's our natural instinct, is that mothering instinct. But if there's nothing in here, there's nothing like. I tend to be short of temper and all of these things, and have way less to give them than if I were just to take a few minutes or even a half hour a day and spend a little bit of time nurturing one of these areas or growing in myself. And some of these areas involve taking care of others. That brings us to our next one, family care. How do you care for your family and your relationships? And this is, for me, picking up the phone and calling a family member I haven't talked to in a few days. Picking up the phone and calling a friend. Sending a text message to a friend that says, man, I'm thinking about you. Because we all have those people that come to our minds. And how much does it mean to you when you get a text from somebody that says, how are you doing? I'm thinking about you right now. That means the world to somebody else, and it also does something for you too. It makes you're keeping in touch with people, and you're growing those relationships.
Well, and if you're disengaging, then you're just going from activity to activity. Okay, if you're engaging, then you're in that activity with your family members, and just depending on where you are in life. Not everyone has small kids. Not everyone has teenagers. We're all in different places, but. If you have a small child, when's the last time that you stopped to play Legos, or to actually play and let that joy of childhood that often we lose as we get older to kind of permeate our hearts? Mm-hmm. Or if you've got a little girl stopping to have a tea party, if that's what she's into, just to stop and to appreciate the little things before they're gone.
Yeah. Or even taking a minute and just rubbing somebody's back. like, you know, that a family member or...
I think you should always stop to rub a family member's
Oh my
back.
goodness, yes, he does. Oh, thanks, Krista. Taking a minute
you, Krista.
to just walk up to somebody in your house and give them a hug and kiss them on the cheek and tell them you love them. Like, these kind of things. I mean, I'm talking about something that takes 30 seconds of your time, but to just get outside of yourself for for a minute. Because here's the thing. Oh, and here's our little guy. He woke up. Hey, buddy.
Good morning, sir.
So here's the thing for me. When I'm disengaged, when I am unplugged, when I am only focusing on that little bit of self-care time where I tend to stay up till 1 a.m. binge watching a TV show because it's the only time I get to myself. And I've told that to myself a lot, and I've told that to others a lot. Like, that's my me time. When I tend to focus on that, and that's the only area that I'm focusing in, what that looks like is I become pretty self-centered, and it becomes like, well, nobody's, reaching out, and nobody's trying to do this for me, and it's, me, and we tend to focus on us instead of, well, how am I reaching out to others? How am I expressing love to others? And when we do that, when we be the person that we are wanting, he's like...
I'm not saying a word.
He's like, oh, yeah, because this is things he says to me all the time anyway. He's like, I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah.
When we be the change, when we are the people that we want other people to be to us, it's that whole golden rule thing, do unto others as you would like to have done to you. When we actually do those things and we're expressing love and we're reaching out and we're even spending 30 seconds of time, how long does it take you to send a text message to a friend that says, I really had fun with you yesterday, or, man, it's been a long time since we've seen each other. Let's touch base soon. I'm thinking about you. It takes 20 seconds of your time. But you're nurturing a relationship. You are growing that area of your life, and that is checking that box of that family care, where we are reaching out to family and to our friendship relationships as well. And then going on to spiritual care. What do you do to find out who you are and what your values are? So that's something to be thinking about. Like, who am I? What do I believe about life? And kind of seeking out those things, because, everybody has their own place of belief. We're Christians. We believe in God, and
that impacts some activities.
And that impacts everything, that we do through the week. But
the idea is, because it can be such a buzzword for people, it's something you can't talk about. It's something that is always controversial in conversations, unless people are on exactly the same page of you. It's easy to avoid it. Mm-hmm. When it can be a really key part of who we are and a really key part of a recharge for us.
I think for you, because you teach the class you teach, the psychology of aging, where you have them talk about what a good death would look like?
Human development, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And his students do this exercise of what is a good death? What does a good death look like? And those are things that we don't want to think about, but it's those things when we start to encounter, like, as our parents are getting older, as, we're seeing people, we're losing people in our life, we start to think about those things, and it can really rock you to your core if you don't know where you stand in those things. So just something to, be thinking about and developing, like seeking out, like, where do I fit in this, and where do I think about these things?
I'm going to tell a story real quick about that. I had this student where we had to just ask the question, what does a good death look like for you? Which is always just, they walk into the room and they're like, oh, good, talk about death today, But I had one student say, how can I talk about what a good death is for me if I don't know what a good life is? Mm. That really kind of changed how I teach that whole class. And I want to just give you advice that you weren't even looking for. If it comes time to make a really tough choice in life, picture yourself at 80. Picture yourself at the end, looking back, because that gives a lot of clarity. Maybe I have a choice to quit my job and start a company. And should I do that? Well, at 80 years old, do you want to look back having made that risk? Or do you want to look back having not made that risk? It just brings clarity that maybe in the moment and in the pressure, it's a lot harder choice to make, versus in the scope of my life, like, maybe I do want to have taken that risk, even if I fail. I want to be able to say at 80 years old, yeah, but I did it. okay? Or I took the risk and wow, everything is different, okay? And I don't look back. It just gives us perspective. So then the next one is social care. Now see, family care is where we focus in on our family relationships. Social care is where we, I don't know, we all have those friends in high school that made us laugh, and because of Facebook, we're still in contact with them. But when's the last time we actually had a conversation with those people? That's where you intentionally make a phone call. In the same way that if Keeling didn't schedule in getting her nails done, it wouldn't happen. Because of all the we're running a business and teaching, and we've got this really full plate. So if it weren't scheduled in, it wouldn't happen. If we weren't scheduling time with friends, that time wouldn't happen. And it gets really easy. It's a little bit of a challenge for us. It gets easy to say no one is asking me to hang out, so I'm alone. What if instead we were saying no one's asking me to hang out? Well, that probably means no one is asking them to hang out either. So what if I take the initiation to do that? We used to love going to coffee. We used to love going to bowling. We used to love going to see movies together. What if we just schedule once a month? What if I take the initiative to schedule once a month to that person that is so much fun to hang out with? To just do it. We have all these friendships, and some of them are people that just make us laugh. Some of them are people that we have these really deep conversations with. Those aren't the same people. And that's not the same need that we have in our social care. So be intentional with those people.
And this is going to feel foreign, and it's going to feel scary. And I think if because in today's day and age, we've talked about how we tend to disengage and unplug, that looks like a loss of real relationship. That looks like a loss of that's the result of what ends up happening. And if we're taking that time to send those little text messages, to send those little notes, to spend a minute, when you see somebody and say, hey, how are you? And looking them in the eye and engaging them. And that is something that I think we get so caught up in these little things, and our eyes are always here. We're in waiting rooms, and I tend to put my phone down when I'm in a waiting room waiting for a doctor, and I tend to just look around because people are really darn lonely anymore for face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact where it's, how are you? I want to know. When I'm at Target, I look at them and I'm like, how are you doing? And I want to know, how are they? Because I bet nobody, after half the day, if you watch people, they just go through life. They don't look at people in the eye. They don't engage. And you start developing, it's going to take some time, but you start putting into those relationships, sending those little messages out, taking a minute for those that you love, and scheduling those things in.
Hi, Luann.
Hi, Luann. That you're going to have a broader base to have social care with. You're going to have relationships that are not so shallow, that are deeper, that are, you're going to have more people that you can call, at 1 a.m. because your car broke down, or you are, having a major issue. You're going to have more of a network of people that, because you are developing those relationships.
Now, and I have this really crazy optimistic view that, we have these long relationships with people, and there's a conflict or a blow up that happens, and so we stop talking to them. What if, this is crazy talk, I hope you're ready for this. What if you were to send a text message to that person that you really can't stand right now to say, I know that we can't get along and we're not seeing eye to eye on this, but I want you to know that I miss you, and I remember the times we had together as really fun. Whoa, right? Who does that?
That's terrifying.
That's terrifying. It's terrifying. But I don't know, we don't do those things because we're like, oh no, they're either amazing friends and amazing relatives, or they're our enemies.
And I think, I see these posts sometimes where it's where people just write people off a lot, they're annoying them, so they're just done with them, kind of a thing. And that tends to be our gut reaction as people, but how do we grow? We grow from those conflicts. We grow through those issues that we have with people. Yeah. And, there are people that, we've reached out to, or we've had issues with, that have chosen to not want to reconcile, which, is hard, and you have to come to terms with that. But I think if you were to take the time and you were to grow those relationships and you were to, try to work on those things, it's just another area that it's going to help you get through, like we're saying, get through the things in life rather than getting over them. And then the last one is physical care. What do you do to take care of your physical body? And these are things, of course, like exercise and...
But it doesn't have to be...
This is my least favorite category.
Okay, it can be. Okay, look.
He loves to go to the gym. He goes every morning, and he's like, "Do you want to come?" I'm like, "No."
That's not what she says. She says this. Okay. Okay, with physical care, we like to think of it as either I'm going to the gym and for guys, I'm lifting 5,000 pounds and I'm working on, whatever. Or I'm in my pajamas eating bonbons.
Are you looking at me?
No, I'm just...
Oh my goodness, this is shocking.
Not what I'm saying. This is no judgment here, right? We're all in this, we're all living life together. Physical care, though, it isn't that, because if you do any of these areas of physical care done to the extreme,
yes,
you're avoiding. Okay.
Yes. I think for me, this is my sickness is up here. This is where I want to hang out and ruminate in this room of my house or in this room of myself or this area. I don't tend to like to do the other ones because for me, having fun is yay. I want to have fun all the time. And then there are I know people that this is where they want to hang out all the time. Like this is their area of fun, and I don't get them, but. Right. Okay, they love it.
So, physical care in moderation is things like taking the dog and the kids for a walk.
I like to do that, though.
It's things like when you go to the mall, being intentional about taking 2 laps around while you're looking at stuff. It's things like...
parking farther away.
Parking farther away. I love that.
I know you do.
I love parking farther away.
He really likes to park far away, you guys. We posted it on the group page, Luann. So there's a post. You just download it and then print it out.
There's a post for it, and then if you go under files, if you can't find it there,
and if you still can't do it, send me a message, and I'll just put one in your next order.
Hey.
It
would be kind of fun to just put into orders anyway.
It would be kind of fun. It's an idea.
It's an idea. Okay. Anyway, all right. So those are the 9 areas of self-care, and we're going to be diving in every week. I mean, I think I shared already. This is going to be one of our longer lives because we're kind of going over what all these. But
the rest of them will be shorter.
The rest of them we want to be a little bit shorter, so that you can watch the whole thing.
So fun and relaxation this week. Oh, you're hilarious.
Luann says, "Oh, you think I'll be ordering more?" LOL. Evelyn says, "You should." Yeah.
But yeah, so fun and relaxation. I want you guys to be focusing on that area this week. It's going to be easy for me.
In moderation.
In moderation. So don't go crazy.
Right. So if you're living your life in fun and relaxation, that's what vacations are for.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be our life. It should be an area that we schedule intentionally. Because if you don't schedule fun...
How much time do you think is a healthy amount of time to spend?
That varies by the person.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, if you're going... Can I talk about a family I worked with? Okay, I'm no details at all, okay? I'm just going to tell you that I worked with a family that were going through hell. And I would go see them every week. And the way that they cope with their hell, okay, that was ongoing, and it was not going to stop. There wasn't hope for it to stop. It just kept going. The way they coped with it was through laughter. And that family was they went through, some of the craziest things you could imagine, but they went through it laughing. And just what a different perspective. Because we can go through it, we can get burdened down just like we do. We get burdened down and we get grumpy, or we can get burdened down and think, oh my gosh, look what they did now. Like, bah.
And intentional, and I know when we're really having a hard time, when we're hurting, laughing is not something, it's way harder to be able to laugh than it is if we're in a season of happiness. Like laughter, it's like there's this range, of emotion, and we're way down here, and so it takes way longer to get up to this point of laughter. It takes a lot more effort to get up there. But Yeah, you have to schedule your fun time, Joanne. It is
Luann.
important. Or Luann, sorry.
Yeah.
It's way smaller than it usually is. So, anyway, so it's way farther to go. So keep pressing through until you get there, because that laughter, that joy that comes from there, like, you have to seek after that fun. Whatever you think it is that's going to be fun, or be silly, turn some music on, and it may be so counterintuitive to what you're going through right that second. It may be the last thing that you ever think that you would want to do. But seek after, schedule some fun, some relaxation, some time to laugh this week. And I know for us, I mean, we've been through some really hard times as a family, and some really hard, I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but we've been through some hard stuff. And there were times when you looked at me like, I miss laughing. I miss laughing. I don't know when we've laughed. And I'm like, I don't know when we've laughed either, but
Because nothing seems funny.
because
And,
nothing
yeah.
seems funny right now. And sometimes in those times it's inappropriate things that should not be normally funny, but they end up being funny. And
Yeah.
but you have to find those things, and you have to seek after those things and spend some time having fun and laughing. So within reason, within moderation, but that's what we're going to focus on this week, is fun and relaxation. So both of those things. So for me, relaxation, what would be something that's just relaxing?
A bath. You mentioned that.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, I was just noticing.
And some things can go in multiple categories. Like a bath for me is emotional care, because it makes me feel emotionally cared for,
Yeah.
and it's relaxing. And I know, and here's the negative thoughts in my head, because here's what's going on in my brain, and I know we all have this voice, so I'm just going to share with you my inner dialogue. I'm like, man, it's been a long time since I've had a bath. I'd really love to have a bath. This is what I'm thinking. I should do that this week. And then my other thought is, oh, but it takes forever to fill up the bathtub, and then, like, it takes so long, and I probably have to clean it because it's been a while, and this is, like, the negative things. And so guess what doesn't happen? I don't get in the bath, and then I don't experience that. So let that go, schedule it in, take that little bit of effort that it takes to get past those things, and have some fun and relaxation this week. And then next week we're going to be talking about intellectual care. We'll have to put our glasses on and be all like scientific and, whatever about it. But I'm a nerd at heart, so you're going to learn a little bit about the fact that I am a really big nerd.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. I don't know what she means by that she's a big nerd.
Were you, well, there's such a delay. Were you thinking about the bath thing, about how much work it is? I don't know. That's the hard thing, but sometimes is the delay. But
Right?
I think it's like a 10 or 15 second delay sometimes. It just
Right.
depends on where you're at. But
Right.
anyway, well, I love each and
The
every one of you.
bathtub part. Okay.
Oh, the bathtub
Okay.
part. Yeah, I know. I mean, like, seriously, we think these things in our head of like, oh, but that's work. And that, for me, guys, here's the thing. We tend to do what's easiest. Don't always do what's easiest, because what's easiest is flipping that thing on. What's easiest is watching The Greatest Showman for the 5th time. Love it! That's what's easiest. And we tend to run to those things. We tend to spend way too much time on them. So get out of your comfort zone a little bit. Do something new and different this week that is fun and relaxing for you. And don't just do that. Remember, we talked about amusing ourselves, and how there's a great book called it's called like Amusing Ourselves to Death, I think, or something like that. And it's about the dangers of just like living our life there in that unplugged, disengaged state. So when we live our lives in that unplugged, disengaged state, it actually affects our stress levels and all of those things, because any sort of stimulation and engagement like this actually does the same thing to our brain that drugs do, and it really kind of puts you in a state of where you don't produce that hormone naturally in your brain of happiness, and you have to do way more to get there.
Well, what that does, when you disengage, it actually shuts your feelings off.
Yeah.
And so, if it could be, I mean, that's the whole point, right? Like, I want to watch something that's so intense that I'm not worried about.
Right, that's going to
all this
distract
other
me
stuff
from
that's
and
going
thinking
on.
about what's going on in my life. Like, I want to not think about that, and so I want to amuse myself, and and you want to not think about it. And so it actually, there's a time and a place for everything. I'm not saying to never watch TV, but I am saying, have moderation in what you're doing. Have moderation.
And be intentional. Do it on purpose.
Yes.
Rather than just have a default, like, okay, it's television time, and let's watch one more episode. and all of a sudden it's 1 in the morning.
Well, when we first got married, we intentionally did not have cable for the first year. We did not.
Well, intentionally and financially.
Well, we didn't have furniture either.
It felt powerful that we could say that we didn't have cable on purpose.
We got married when we had just turned 20. Yeah, we were babies. And I can remember with our money from, you get money from your wedding, and a lot of people do smart stuff with it, but what did we do with ours? Do you remember?
I think what we did was really smart.
You think? We bought Disney passes.
We bought Disney passes.
And we didn't have furniture in our living room. We had the plastic dining room chairs, the really awesome ones from the store that were $5.
But we had Disney passes.
But we went to Disneyland a lot. And
that was so cool. It was so great that we got to do that, though.
Case in point on how fun and relaxation can tend to be a default for me that is not necessarily healthy. We gotta expand our horizons and do other areas of self-care too. But this week is fun and relaxation week.
So for those of you that are kind of just joining us, if you go into the files section of this group, we have this thing called self-care menu. We're going to be spending 9 weeks going over it. Just again, this is a long live, and they're not all going to be this long because this is our introduction.
Yeah.
After this, we're just going to be diving into each area of self-care. So this week, we are hitting in, who doesn't love Disney, said Luann.
I do love Disney,
agreed.
Luann. We are Disney addicts, but then they raise the prices up so high, and there's 5 of us, and it's just not practical anymore. But we try to go once a year at least. So.
Yeah, well.
But to get passes for our family was like $2,500 or something.
We just want to have more variety rather than just Disney. But
so for us now, we made the decision. We do things like Hollywood and museums, and I am the butt of many jokes in my family because for me a fun time is always going to a museum. But
like we're going to.
My dad is always like, we're not going to a museum.
Luann goes to Disney World.
Oh, nice. We've been there. We went there a few years ago. So
we did get to take our family there.
All right, girls, and so here's what I want you guys to be, if you're comfortable, I think it would be a great resource. I'm going to start a thread and just say, let's post our fun and relaxing ideas below. And I think it would be just a great resource for those of us that are maybe struggling in that area. Like I said, each of us have the areas we tend to run to. And for some of us, we spend all of our time working. We're more of a professional-oriented person. We're more of like a work person. So we tend to kind of default to one area on here. And or physical care, we tend to want to work out. I know when I went to Chicago, Luann, oh my gosh, we had so much fun. My oldest son, who's a total nerd too, we went to Chicago and that's what we did. We went to like the aquarium and the museum and anyway, I'm a nerd. So next week's going to be fun.
That's why the family makes fun of us, because when we go someplace new, it's like, but where are the museums?
I know, because that's the first place I look for.
We're total nerds.
So, yeah, my dad, he's like, well, you didn't go to Wrigley Field? I'm like, no, I went to the museum. Anyway, baseball. I guess, I don't know. To each their own. I'm not a big sports nut, but, whatever. Right. So, okay, so let's start a thread. I'm going to start it as soon as we're off, where we're talking about fun and relaxing things, and we work on that this week within moderation, and then next week we're going to be focusing on intellectual care.
Your daughter, Luann, is so cute. Thank you for posting that picture of her in the outfit.
She's like, I love baseball. I do too. I used to go to games all the time. I'm not one to like sit and watch it on TV, but I do. A good baseball game is fun. That's an area that we could grow in self-care for us, our family. Is
sports?
Or we could go to the theater again.
Or we could go to the theater.
We could go see another musical. Anyway. We are nerds, people. Are you ready for us?
We went to Hollywood this week. Okay, I'm up there in age, right? I've never...
You're up there in age?
I think... Okay.
Well, he's lived in California his whole life.
Lived in California my whole life, right? I've never been to Hollywood. I only saw the Hollywood sign, like, for the first time, like, a year or two ago. So we've never actually gone down and...
And I grew up in Denver. And
right.
So when I moved out here when I was 16, my parents, God love them, moved us out here in my junior year of high school. I was super excited about it. And we went and did all the touristy things when we moved out here. So
right, so I've never done them. So we went and the show Aladdin at the Pantages Theater had like 3 days left, and it was gone.
The kids were dying. That's all they wanted for Christmas, but we just couldn't swing it this year.
We went to like, okay, maybe there's some standby tickets if we can stand in line, and then, oh my gosh. Or you can get Disney passes for you.
I said, how much are tickets? So they were $225 a piece, and that was the minimum price. I'm like, oh, guys, I love you. I know, Evelyn. I know. You and my dad. I know. Next time we'll go. Next time. I told Bruce doesn't want to see Chicago, but I told him he really should because it's really cool.
Well,
You'd rather go to New York, I know.
Yeah, I'd rather go visit Evelyn.
He's never been to New York. So, anyway. Well, we love you guys, and our hearts are to for all of us to just keep growing and being, the best us we can be. Agnes and Dora had a campaign when I first joined, and it was called A Better Me with A&D, and I have to tell you, it's amazing what having clothes that you feel comfortable in can do for you, and you really start. She's like, "Come on!" It's just amazing what it's done for me, and I get to see it on all of you when you post your pictures, or when my local girls come, and I get to see how their lives have changed. So, I wanted to share my hubby with you because I just think he's just great, and offer you guys just a new area to grow in. So love you all, and fun and relaxation this week. It's going to be a good time.
It would be really great. Okay, there's two levels of thread. One is this is what I enjoy. Another is this is a picture of me doing what I enjoy. That would be pretty
Just
cool.
don't post pictures in the bath, people. I don't know about that.
Maybe the back getting ready. That's okay.
Oh!
Go to Chicago. I'll meet you there.
We were going to try to go this year. We were going to try it for a road trip, but then our life kind of turned upside down.
Yeah.
To quote the Prince of Bel-Air. Thank you. It did. Our life got turned upside down. So I don't know if you guys know this, but about 3 months into selling A&D, my hubby, he had like 4 jobs. He was working at 3 different universities, and then he had his main job, and the main job thing kind of ended, and we'll leave it at that. And so A&D has been amazing for our family. But thank you, Donella. So right now, you guys, when you buy from us, you really are supporting our family, and we just love it and appreciate it. And he gets to pursue his dream. He's working on a book, and he's working on all sorts of things. So anyway, it is a family business. But we love you guys, and you got to see a little bit more of who we are as a family. We're nutty.
And we like the theater.
We do like the theater. The theater. So, all right, well, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Easter. Have some fun with your family. And take some time to do some fun and relaxing things this week. And post your ideas. All right, love you all. I'm going to sign off.